Ah, that's good. That's good. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunda Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunda Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Kunda Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Jaya Kalivaradhari Jaya Girivaradhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Jaya Girivaradhari Jaya Girivaradhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Jaya Girivaradhari Jaya Girivaradhari Jashodanandana Vraja Janarandana Jashodanandana Vraja Janarandana Jashodanandana Vraja Janarandana Jashodanandana Vraja Janarandana Jamuna Tira Vanatari Jamuna Tira Vanatari Jamuna Tira Vanatari Jaya Radha Madhava Jana Kunja Bihari Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Jaya Kundra Bihari Jaya Girivaradhari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada. Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Go Premanande, Hari Hari Go. What to say? First of all, I'd like to just everyone tolerate me, please. There's so many other devotees that could speak much more beneficial things or more helpful and more qualified. Have had their realizations, but if anything I say wrong, you can blame Vasupara and Suvarna. So they only asked me on Friday afternoon, so that was the day before yesterday, and in the 2 days I was trying to figure out what to speak about. Surat suggested 6 loving exchanges on Friday, so I was like, it's a Sunday feast. Prabhupada used to call it the Sunday Love Feast. So try to speak about the 6 loving exchanges. So, I mean, first, what is everyone's definition of love? Haridas? What is love? Huh? What is love, though? What are you developing for Krishna? If you feel attracted to your mother, what do you do for her? Yeah. So service, usually, whatever it is, love is an action. Prabhupada would say love is an action. Love is like a verb. So what kind of actions does that entail? Rupa Goswami talks about that in the Nectar of Instruction. In the picture on the right, Rupa Goswami and his brother Sanatan. So there he says the 6 actions, and it's for a time immemorial. You can practice this anywhere, anytime. It's receiving gifts, sharing gifts, receiving prasadam, sharing prasadam, and revealing your mind in confidence, and also inquiring. So sharing your knowledge if you're able, and when you have a question, you ask as well in confidence. So, yeah, first, love is action. If you love your mother, you go do something for her. If you love your partner, you find out what they like, and you give that. It's not that. If my mother likes dark chocolate and I give her white chocolate, it's like, it's a nice gesture, but how deep is that relationship? So most of those 4 make sense. Giving prasadam, receiving prasadam, we do that every day. The cooks to cook, and we eat. and revealing and asking. We do that at Bhagavatam class, speakers revealing their realizations, and there's questions at the end, and we're always doing that with our parents. But receiving and accepting gifts, that's like maybe a bit broad or hard to understand. What kind of gifts does that entail? So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu taught us that the most fulfilling gift you can give anybody is Krishna, His holy name. And in our practice we try to do that by chanting as much as we can, constantly, or thinking about Him. And by simply hearing the Maha Mantra with sincerity and attention, and you put your time, you chant your 16 rounds, it's giving your time to Krishna. With anybody you love them, you give your time for them. And we gradually start to remember that He's always there within us. Because He's always there, but it's not like we chant and then we go find Him. He's there within us, but we have to remember He's there. So, how do we understand love in this world in relation to love for Krishna? Like, love in this world, can I still love my family? If I'm supposed to just love Krishna and I go back to Godhead, does that mean I can still love my family or my friends or my partner? But what Krishna says to Arjuna is, you do whatever you do, and if you can do it as an offering unto Him, then that's all He asks for. Whether that's having a family or a business, or renouncing from the world, or brahmachari, whatever you do, you offer it to Him at your highest potential. And He doesn't say one is better than the other. Patram pushpam palam toyam. But at the same time, we have to realize still Krishna is a person. So then that completely changes the meaning. Whatever you do, you offer unto me. So Krishna says, whatever you do offer unto me. But when you realize He's a person, then Krishna has likes and dislikes. If you're offering, your mother something, you have to find out what she likes. And you offer anybody something, you find out what he likes, or she likes. So you have to find out first who Krishna is if we want to offer Him something. So similarly, Krishna is a person, as in He has a desire. He's a person as all of us. He has a desire to have a relationship with us all. We have a desire, some of us like this prasadam, some of us like this prasadam. We have all these other desires, and it's not that one is better than the other. This devotee is like this devotee is like that. And so everyone has their own unique desire. Krishna's desire is to have a relationship with us all, but the difference with Him is, He's the only one that has not only our well-being at heart, but at the same time He arranges for every single person who comes to Him for shelter. We have a desire, so, we want to become rich, and in the way we might start a business, and, we hurt some people along the way. We commit a lot of sins, a lot of stuff on our path to fulfilling our desire. But Krishna's desire is always makes everyone happy. So that means whenever our desires are in line with pleasing Krishna, not only do we find a greater happiness, but our desires will also have a positive impact for others. So Srila Prabhupada would give the example of the tree. Krishna is the tree and we're the fruits or the flowers or the leaves. And when you try and please Krishna, when your desire is Krishna's desire, to please Krishna, and Krishna's desire is obviously to make us happy, you try to please Krishna and He'll please you, but then He'll also nourish the rest of the tree. You water the tree, you get happy, and everyone as well gets happy. And that's so wonderful. That's what's so wonderful about our movement. Everyone here loves each other so much because we know the person next to us is also trying to water the root. So when we come to the understanding that Krishna has our best interest, we are willing to take some austerities to elevate ourselves to a higher standard of living. So, back to our original question, what kind of gifts can a spiritual offer to the world? We can look at Srila Prabhupada. He, at 70 years old, was on the ocean for a month, even after being advised not to, for many, many times. And 2 heart attacks, And he was preparing for years and years before he even came to America, and then to America, till the very last breath. Like, who was here? We were just watching Falling Srila Prabhupada. To the very last breath. He was about to die in the last year, and he was being carried around everywhere, and he's going to London to preach. It's like, what the heck? So that's the spiritual gift. It's more than any... It's incomparable to any material gift we can think of. So he was that someone for us all who displayed the utmost control of his free will. We could practically say his will was Krishna's will. And we're so fortunate because when you come in contact with someone like that, we get a taste of the spiritual gifts Krishna and the devotees have to offer. He gave us a wonderful place where we can learn about and practice all these loving exchanges to our highest degree. And you can ask anyone here practicing, the happiness we experience is in the process. It's not like, you chant your 16 rounds, you get initiated, and you'll attain prema bhakti at some point. But the happiness is just coming to the temple daily. You meet the devotees, and you appreciate their service, and they appreciate your service, and you live. That's how you live happily ever after. It's not like life is like a bucket list. I want to do this. I want to travel around the world. I want to do this, and then because the bucket list will extend. Krishna says that his mind is uncontrollable. You do one thing, you will want to do another thing. But with Krishna's devotees, they want to serve you, and you want to serve them. And that way you're always happy. So we see so many services being done, not out of just duty or monetary gain, but because the other devotees here are on a journey to realize Krishna's love for them. And it may seem ironic, like how is it that by controlling or training our free will, we'd be able to experience like a higher or wider level of happiness experience to, compared to something, when we just do something when we like to do it. So we can do an experiment. Like, who here thinks someone who smokes cigarettes daily is exercising their free will? Some people say, yeah, he's choosing to smoke the cigarette. And that's true, he's choosing to smoke the cigarette, so it's free will. But how much is he actually in control of what he wants to do? And maybe in his mind, he wants to stop, but he can't stop. And we're all like that to some extent. We're in this material world, we're all conditioned. We know we can do this thing, we can do this thing, we can be a better person, but we can't do it. So the Bhagavad Gita talks about this when we are covered up or influenced by these three modes, sattvas, rajas, tamas, goodness, passion, and ignorance. And for the example, if someone's smoking a pack of cigarettes every day, he's covered up by tamas, by the lower modes. So instead of exercising his free will or being in control of it, his free will is under the control of the modes of the material nature. And you can see even on the material platform, like people we consider materially successful athletes or famous people, they undertake some level of austerity. They control their free will or train themselves in order to be able to exercise their free will and on a wider level later on. They say, don't give up what you want most for what feels good now, right? But again, if we stay on the material platform away from Krishna, you see these famous people or materially successful people, because they're, instead of pleasing him, their desire is not pleasing him. They may gain some material profit, but they'll screw up later on at some point, because they have no guidance. It's just whatever I feel like, and because we have 4 defects, we're conditioned. At some point, we'll make a mistake, and you can see that all the time. Some famous or rich people, they lose their position because they committed a crime, or they use their money badly. They use their power or position for something harmful. So again, we try to remind ourselves what Krishna has made available for us by practicing these 6 loving exchanges. We're practicing nearly all of them tonight to some degree. We're about to eat a lot of prasadam. We had the devotees cook a lot of prasadam, and giving gifts. I mean, the kirtan's the gift. Wherever the kirtaniyas are, they're giving amazing gifts, and all the devotees in the kirtans, they're receiving the wonderful gift. And I'm sharing some of my mind, We can, maybe there's 5 minutes left. We can finish it off, finish the 6 loving exchanges. It's not in total confidence, it's still open, but we're at the temple. Someone want to finish this 6 loving exchange? Someone want to ask a question? Inquire in confidence.
Thank you, Nandu.
Thank
Very
you.
brave to give a class, and you've done really well. I hope everybody takes example from you. I really like the verse you selected to talk about this topic. And there's 3 things, really interesting things, Prabhupada says in the purport. One, I started this Krishna consciousness movement to facilitate these 6 exchanges. So we could take it, if we're not practicing those exchanges, then we're subverting the entire purpose of the movement. Second, the life of the Krishna consciousness movement is nourished by these 6 exchanges. And again, conversely, we could say if we're not doing it, we might actually be strangling the vitality of the movement. I'm thinking particularly creating a safe place for people to reveal their minds and so on. It's a really big one that we've got some work to do. And the third thing he says is, and this is probably the most profound, these 6 loving exchanges are fully sufficient to awaken the dormant love of God inside every living being. Wow, that's pretty profound. So thank you for picking this verse. Prabhupada had a limited time. He chose only a few books in the time that he had available. And interestingly, apart from Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, he picked 2 books by Rupa Goswami, of which Nectar of Instruction, the one that you're speaking from, such an important book. So thank you very much for choosing that topic, very timely. Other questions, other comments?
Can I?
You know how you asked Haridas, what is love? What is your definition of love?
Like I said, like, I don't know if you're listening. Can I? Prabhupada says love is action. And what is that action? The 6 loving exchanges. So wherever, every relationship I have, what is my definition of love? I'll try to, if you're being naughty, then I'll try to give you a gift of chastisement. So I'll try to live by those in my life, and we can all do that. Whether it's your friend or your father or your mother, your partner, anybody, everyone can do it. It's, what's the word? Niti Shastra. It's a verse. It's from the Vedas, and it's niti. It's eternal. It'll be conclusive forever. It's like maybe 500 years ago there were some traditions. There'll be a rule that whatever. Maybe for example, women couldn't do deity worship. That wasn't Prabhupada changed that. So that's not something that's eternal. But these 6 loving exchanges, this is something that will last forever. Always can be practiced.
Hare Krishna, thank you for an inspiration class. My question is, so in loving your family and loving Krishna, how do you balance that, and how do you love Krishna without the family feeling left out?
Family, what role are you in the family? You're the child or you're the parent?
I don't think it makes any difference where you are in the family.
Yeah, practicality.
You can still, some people just focus on Krishna and love and they neglect their family, but I just want to, this question might be a little tricky because you want to have the balance. So I'm just looking for that balance of loving Krishna ultimately, but also loving your family as well. Are you okay with that?
Yeah. For practicality, find the balance, but find the balance is individual for everybody. For one person, you know, maybe someone who lives on the farm, who doesn't have an outside job, and he has a family, they'll balance it differently compared to someone who has a business, and the parents have less time to go to the temple or something like that. And if you're the parent or you're the child as well, for the child, for example, if I want to balance family life and love Krishna, my duty as a child to my parents, you know, well, I'm not living at home anymore, but I will try to please my mother. That's my duty as a child, and at the same time I will try to grow my relationship with Krishna. If you're the parent, how do you balance it? It's completely different. Like for the child, maybe the duties is school, learning how to life skills and stuff. And for the parent, it's how to get time away from the business, how to make time to go take your kids to the temple. So it's different for everybody, but the parents' duty, or how do they balance it? I mean, it starts with desire, of course. If you want to desire Krishna, I want to make time for you, and also I want to love you. At the same, how do I do that while still? Because you can't love Krishna while neglecting something else, while neglecting one of his other sons and daughters, especially when they're your own sons and daughters. Of course, there's another thing if the child's not, when it's grown up and they're not interested spiritually, and you can't bring them to the temple or anything, but I mean, it's pretty rare. Until, you know, they're teenagers, you can pretty much force them to come. You're living in my house, you're coming to the temple. That's what my parents did. And it worked out. More or less. Hopefully that helps. Just press the button.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, you didn't do too bad for doing 2 days of preparation for your class this afternoon. Thank you. I don't have a question, but I just want to say that the question was, what is love? To me, love is something that you don't expect anything in return, just like how Prabhupada loves us even if we don't do our 16 rounds, or if Krishna still loves us even if we don't do 16 rounds. So to me, love is no expectation in return. That's my love.
Yeah. Yeah. The ironic thing with devotees is that devotees don't expect anything in return, but they always feel that I can never repay the devotees around me. There's never enough that I can do, but I don't need anything in return. And that's what Prabhupada felt, right? He never stopped. And that following Srila Prabhupada, they had a Rath Yatra, and there was these devotees, and they just purchased a huge building, and it needed to be renovated. And these devotees said, Prabhupada, you know, we purchased this building, and maybe it takes about a year to get renovated. And Prabhupada said in the letter, I'll be there in 6 weeks. So they were like, somehow or other, and they said they practically didn't sleep for 6 weeks, this couple. And when the Rath Yatra happened, Prabhupada came, he was on the cart, and he stepped down, and people were giving him so many gifts, flowers, this, that. And the person who headed up the renovation, the devotee, he was like, what should I give to Prabhupada? There's nothing. And he went to the temple trying to find some flowers, but they're all gone, except this one, like a wilted rose. And so he just took that, there's nothing else. And he was standing in the line of the cart. There's hundreds of people, like, and Prabhupada makes his way through all of them. And the devotee felt so bad, like, I can't give a wilted rose to Prabhupada. So he hid it behind his back. And Prabhupada, some or other, walking down all the way, he came and he put his hand up in front of him. And he's like, you have something, give it to me. He's like, how in front of hundreds of people he found this devotee? So the disciple felt, there's never enough I can do for my spiritual master. And the spiritual master, doesn't matter what he has to offer me, he does it with devotion. He'll accept that.
A distinction that's made by Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami between prema and karma. So prema is when the goal is to satisfy Krishna's senses to please Krishna. And karma is when the goal is to satisfy one's own senses. So we see that mundane love is often actually about meeting my needs. You gratify me right now is really what many people mean when they say, I love you. And as you said, it's a selfless thing, that we just want to please Krishna. There's also that famous verse, famous letter to Arundhati, where she'd been, you know, in a dilemma of some kind, written to Prabhupada. Sometimes I have to raise the children, but I want to worship the deity. For you, child worship is more important than deity worship. So we really cut through. So this idea, we shouldn't see a distinction, as you said, with our own children, with our own family. I heard one sadhu once said, through the love for your family, try to reach the supreme loving object, Krishna. So we shouldn't see them as competitive or offset in any ways. But we see Krishna's devotees entrusted to my care. So let me please Krishna by raising them nicely, and let me inculcate love of Krishna in them, and so on.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's very hard. I used to like battle with my, argue, debate myself. Why can't Krishna give me a planet if he's all loving? Why can't I have a planet where I can just enjoy as much as I want without you, Krishna? Like, why do I have to be a servant of God, you know? We don't like the word servant, you know? So, if you're all loving, can you give me somewhere where I can just be happy by myself? Right? Like, why do I have to be a servant of you? Why can't I be God? Why can't I be in control? And David Prabhu, my stepfather, he gave me one aspect. Like, actually, when we were in the spiritual world and we turned away from Krishna, we didn't come straight down to this material world. It wasn't like absolute bliss and straight to this crap hole. It was like we slowly degraded down and down, but in the beginning, he gave us a beautiful place. We were in the heavenly planets living for millions of years, and we had all the pleasures we could imagine. But slowly, because when we're not dovetailing our desires for Krishna, then we slowly commit sins. We lower our standards, and we listen, I'll do this, and slowly we're down here. And you ask people in this world, you know, if I were to announce here, this world is absolute complete misery, some people would think like I'm a doomsday person, you know. It's not, this world isn't all misery. It's like there's some nice things in this world. So we've lowered our standards. The pure devotees, they don't say this is complete, you know, Maya or anything. Srila Prabhupada said this world is also, there's many beautiful things in this world, but he knows, in comparison to Goloka Vrindavan, because he's experienced it and he remembers it, it's an absolute crap hole. There's nothing here. So, I just lost my train of thought now. Yeah, so there's that aspect, like we slowly degrade ourselves. And the second aspect is it just wouldn't work out. If we want a planet to ourselves where we just enjoy ourselves completely, without Krishna, it wouldn't work because we need someone to do it with. Because we're human beings, we're social beings. Imagine if there's no one else in this world besides robots. Like, at some point you wouldn't find happiness, or pretty much straight away. It's like, I do something, but then I can't share with anybody. So the same thing, if you have a whole planet to yourself, and you want to be the controller, you won't be able to share it with anybody. It won't work out, because if you're trying to be the controller, the other person's trying to be the controller, it doesn't work out. So that's why Goloka Vrindavan, where Krishna's there, everyone's trying to serve Krishna. It's not about themselves. Not a single person is thinking about themselves. So then it's like, you know, it's just an equation. It won't work out. Service plus service, it will equals happiness. If you're trying to enjoy, this person's trying to enjoy, then it doesn't work out. Yeah. Well, last
beautiful Bhagavad Gita quotes, or at least explanation with the hand and the stomach, right? Like, it's actually impossible because you're connected directly to Krishna. You're individual, but you're still part of Krishna, like the stomach and the hand.
the tree, yeah.
When the
Same
hand
way.
tries to individually, right,
Yeah.
enjoy, but like, I'm going to do my own thing and not serve through the mouth directly to the source, which is the stomach,
Yeah.
then it's not going to be happy because it needs the, you know,
Yeah.
it needs the stomach
The
to
intermediate.
be able, to function,
Yeah.
just in general.
And Rajnath Swami would always say, like, it's not that one body part hits the other body part. It's not like the heart thinks it's higher than the hand. It's like the heart needs the hand and the hand needs the heart. So it doesn't matter who you are. If you, whatever services you have for Krishna, everyone's trying to serve Krishna. You love everybody. That's our philosophy. Okay, going over time, 10 minutes. Thank you very much.
Thank
Please
you,
forgive
Nandu.
me.
Hare Krishna. Okay, so we're about to have